All right. So I guess now you understand what the plan was.
Absolutely. At Colts Law, we talk Indianapolis Colts football.
We're going to stick to what we know, fundamentals and technique, 1% better every day.
What's going on, Colts Nation? I'm Lawrence Owen, along with Colts Loyalist. We are back to discuss a devastating loss. Devastating loss to the Baltimore Ravens on Monday Night Football. Now, I want your opinion, Loyalist. I would have rather lost from the get-go, be down 10 points in the first quarter, and just be, lose the game throughout the game, knowing that, our team's just not as good as the Ravens. Then they'll go through this game and completely and utterly dominate 3/4 of the game and then lose in the fashion that we did.
Now remember, you asked me to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Losing sucks.
Yes, it does.
There's no, I don't care if you're, if you're coming from behind or if you're ahead. I was thrilled for 3/4 of that game. I was into it. Heck, even the fourth quarter, I felt like things were slipping away and stuff, but I still felt really, excited and into the game. And so I enjoyed that part of it, we spoke earlier, how I felt like, whenever Reich went for that 2-point conversion, I was just like, oh man, I felt like things started slipping from that point on. And I just, I was like, come on guys, just one more play, just one. That's how I felt the whole game. Just make that one turnover or something. So yeah, I losing is losing. I guess I would have to say I enjoy being ahead for a little bit. Yeah, it really stinks whenever you sit there and especially to lose the way you did. So much of the lead in the fourth quarter and then sitting there and to give up basically a photocopy of what we saw last year against the same team. And it's just, that's the one that I probably hits me the most wrong of all of it.
You're right. And I warned people all week. I warned people, we were defensively just destroying the Ravens in the first half last year. Be careful because there's at some point the Ravens will switch it up when they can't run the football. And I thought the Colts would be able to stop the Ravens running, even Lamar Jackson, because we were able to last year. Because our scheme is just right to do it, right? We have the player personnel on the scheme to do that. And it happened. But the problem is, and I said this before, unless Eberflus adjusts, when Baltimore adjusts, he's going to start throwing to wide open guys in our zone coverage, right? Yeah. And it's not just that. He was doing it. Now, I got to give credit where credit is due. Lamar Jackson and Andrews and Hollywood, they showed up in the game when it mattered, and they won this game, right? They went out there in the fourth quarter and they took it back. But there's a situation that I'm going to get to in a little bit that I'm now right there about ready to say, you know what? I want to replace Eberflus.
Really?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I am getting really close. Guys, before we go any further, I got a shout out to my boy Derek Larger. Yeah, Derek Larger, I am so sorry. Okay. Right after the game last night, Derek from Bring the Juice podcast gets a hold of me and he says, hey, can you do a recording with me tomorrow around 4 p.m.? I said, absolutely, because I've had to turn him down multiple times because he's asked me at the last moment and I was getting ready to do stuff like go live or I was in the middle of recording or something. And I said, just, let me know a day ahead and I should be able to make it work. And yeah, I was able to make it work except for the fact that I completely and utterly freaking forgot. And I ended up taking my cats to the vet to get medicine and stuff like that instead. completely brain spaced it. So, Derek, I am sorry. I apologize. I hope this does not affect our friendship. As, not just, content creators that do the very similar stuff, but, just friendship in general that we have acquired over the years due to that. So I am sorry. I want to shout out all these guys that are in the chat as well. I appreciate each and every one of you. Truett Tressler, obviously. John Davis has been in here for a minute. Brandon Ace, the Ravens fan in here, just shout out to you. You're being very respectful, even though your Ravens came back and smoked the snot out of us at the end. I appreciate that very much. Respect to you and your team. Alpha Wolf, what's up? Javi Troncoso, or Transaso, one of those two, I assume. I might be off completely. What's up, Wentz season? Jack Crumbless, what's up going on? All right. Here's the deal. I am really upset with Matt Eberflus. And I have seen this multiple times with Eberflus. And it made itself even more apparent in this game. He has a problem adjusting to what he has in the field. He will stick to his scheme no matter what. Whatever his idea is that he wants to do, even if he does not have the player availability to do it, he will stick with it no matter what, even if it's going to hurt the players on the field. Last night, in the third quarter, starting, mid-third quarter, we started losing our corners and our safeties, right, to injury. They were going out with concussions and all kinds of stuff, and we were down to literally 5 defensive backs, total defensive backs. That's safeties, corners, everything. We were down to 2 safeties and 3 cornerbacks. 2 of those cornerbacks that were out there on the field were practice squad guys literally the day before we brought them up due to injuries and stuff. Okay? I mean, they ain't even played with the team but like a week, right? And we brought them up, and these are inexperienced guys, let alone the talent. Let's take the talent away, right? Let's just say the inexperience these guys have. Not only with, playing in the NFL, but understanding the scheme and the guys around them, stuff like that. When you're a defensive coordinator and you're playing a zone, you have to call plays that are going to help these guys out, okay? And the best way to do that is by dialing up pressure. And I'm not even necessarily saying send 6 guys every time, right? Just make sure you get pressure. Even when you got 4 guys, for the most part, the way the Colts handle these scrambling quarterbacks, they did it right up until the point where they started coming back. Because you'll see, like, your 4 down linemen, they will surround. And I'm going to do a film room if it drops on all 22. This will be the film room on it, okay? And I will be showing. That way you guys can understand this a little bit more. But the 4 down linemen will surround like a box around the quarterback. And they don't break their gap on purpose. They will stand there with that offensive lineman in front of them. And they'll just keep doing this, looking around the head of that offensive lineman to keep an eye on him. And when Lamar breaks, that's when they break. But if Lamar never breaks because he's sitting in that pocket, that means he's got all day in the world to just sit there and throw. And in the fourth quarter, on almost every stinking play, he had 5, 6, 7 seconds to just sit there and wait and throw the football. And you can't do that to inexperienced defensive backs. And Matt Eberflus should have known that, and he should have done something. He should have sat his lineman down and said, okay, I don't care if you have to break your contain. I don't care if you have to get in there and pressure him. All right? Make him take off. Make him run, because if he just sits there, it doesn't matter if it's Lamar Jackson. It doesn't matter if it's Tom Brady. It doesn't matter if it's your daughter, Loyalist. They're going to be able to find the open players with 7 seconds to sit there in the pocket. I mean, that's just that. You know what I mean?
Hey, now, don't mess with my daughter. She can sling the rock.
I believe you, too.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, I'm definitely, I told you this morning when we did the news breaks and stuff, I just really was like, okay, guys, Lawrence has shifted a little bit, so I'm trying to process, because, Lawrence was to his defense, and stuff. So now it's like, okay, yeah, I agree. Like I said, I'm tired of seeing this team perform for 2 quarters, 3 quarters, 3.5 quarters. But when it counts, the defense is just that soft, mushy zone that, like you said, I mean, how many times have we seen quarterbacks have, arguably their best games, their best completion percentage, against this defense? And I don't know. I mean, I would love for, I sat there and listened to him today, and he started talking about how he brought all these blitzes and was, and I didn't understand a lot. I mean, I'm more of an offensive guy, but I don't understand. Okay, if we're surrounding them, doesn't that mean that Grover and Defoe were supposed to be pushing that center in and just sort of constricting around them or something? Or are we just really, supposed to keep them in this little box? I mean? I just feel like there was, we muddied up the pocket, but we still did not make enough plays on the quarterback. Who was it? Blackman comes in. When he does make contact, with Lamar, he coughs the ball up. This was something, So, yeah, like I said, I'm really irritated with the way the defense gave up the points in that fourth quarter. But like I said, to me, I don't see that. You sit there and you talk about, we had all these injured players and stuff, but yeah, that'd be fine if this was the only game that this had happened. You know what I mean? But there's just countless hours of film where we see this defense, perform lights out. I mean, I think I even tweeted that exact phrase. I was like, this defense is playing lights out. I mean, they're not running the ball, blah, 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 3 and out. I mean, even whenever Lamar was running, he was spending more time going east and west than he was north-south. I mean, I was just really hyped about the way the first half went, and then the offense come out being aggressive. First pass to Pascal, I was just like, here we go. Because I'll be honest, I was like, hey, this is going to be a bloodbath and everything going into it. And I felt like for the first, 2.5, 3 quarters, the Colts said, no, we're taking control of this game, and we're dominating the field of play. But there again, whatever it is, some reason it seems like we start getting these guys backed in the corner, and then all of a sudden they can't do anything wrong. And our defense, I mean, yes, we had a little bit of suspect tackling, but I don't think that was all to blame for, for the amount of yards and the amount of completions that he got. I mean, Xavier Rhodes, he gets injured. How does he get injured? Not by breaking up a play. Well, not by, swatting at a ball or anything, He's actually, no, the guy makes the catch and then he blows him up. It's like, look, I'd much rather him making a play on the ball and not, that ball don't hit nearly as hard and doesn't cause nearly as much damage as it does sit there and take on a 240-pound tight end or whatever.
But that's what the Eberflus scheme calls for all the corners and the linebackers and the safeties to do, right? It calls for
and
you.
I'm fine if they tackle, but man, just not every time because I don't think, seriously, I don't know that there was 6 or 7 contested passes in that whole, offensive output in the second half from Baltimore. I just felt like, these receivers were 1 yard, 2, 3 yards open, catching these passes and then getting lit up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and well, the great thing, and I am going to say props to our defensive line, Joe Thornburg and the yes, they did. They did their job. They did what they were asked to, as well as any position, as well as Carson Wentz did this game, right? The defensive line did a fantastic job. They held the run game very well. They held their gaps very well. They were asked to hold the gaps and contain Lamar, and they did that. Outside of one run, Lamar Jackson was held contained the entire night, right?
Yeah, and that run, I mean, it was simply Defoe was in the right spot. It just looked like he got put in a blender. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He got turned around, and then next thing you know, Lamar sees that little crease, and it doesn't take much for this dude.
Mm-mm.
I mean, he makes a crease, and he'll gash the team for 40. You know, it's like, man.
Yeah. I mean, but the problem was, like I'm saying, in the fourth quarter, and you realize that your secondary needs help because of the inexperience that they have back there and the fact that you just ain't got enough bodies. When the Ravens went 5 wide receivers, the Colts couldn't match them when, you know, they did not have 5 cornerbacks or 5 defensive backs, more than 5, right? Yeah. That's all they had was 5, period. 3 corners, 2 safeties. They couldn't put 4 corners on out there because they didn't have 4 corners available. In order to do that, like I said, they would have had to put Zach Pascal or somebody or Michael Pittman out there at cornerback, right? Because of the injuries that they had suffered during the game.
3 practice squad players. I mean,
at that point, man, you got to forget gap integrity on the defensive line at that point. Getting pressure on Lamar is more important. I would rather get pressure on him, force him out of the pocket inside a second or two, and make him run with the football, because there's times when that happened, and you'll see him run 40 yards, but only 5 of those yards was forward, you know, because he's running sideways and around, and, you know, he looked like one of them weird, you know, drawings on a board, you know, of string or something. And
the funny thing was, after that play, I was like, other than the fact that everybody on the defense was gassed, I was fine with that, because you know what happened that whole time? Tick tock, tick tock.
Exactly.
That clock just kept on running. I'm like, go ahead, man, run yourself ragged.
I would have rather done that than them hold their gaps in the fourth quarter. You know, when you got a 3-score lead, you know, and all Eberflus was doing was calling preventative plays. You know, don't let them get behind you. Let them catch it up. Well, if they keep making completions, they're just going to keep moving. They're going to keep moving. They'll stay in that hurry up. They'll move. You'll gas the heck out of you. You won't be able to stop nothing. You know, that's exactly what happened. You got to get in there. You got to get pressure on him. You got to make him throw it incomplete or something, so you could get some of at least your front 7. You had extra front 7. You could have got them fresh, right? He had 1 incompletion. That entire late fourth quarter and that 19-point comeback, 1 incompletion. And they had to use that to move guys out of their front 7 and back so that they could get some rest. You know, the Colts did. So, now, I'm a little upset with how he handled it. Now, there is a lot of people out there that are upset about him 3rd and 8 at the 15-yard line with 4.5 minutes left in the game. There are people out there saying we should have never tried for the field goal and we should have went for a touchdown instead. And I'm going to tell you right now, that goes against every coaching manual out there, period. Okay? And let me explain why. At that point, we were up by 1 score. 8 points. 8 points, right? 4.5 minutes left in the game. 8 points. We're at the 15-yard line.
Yeah.
Your kicker, yes, has admitted, you know what, I got a little bit of a hip problem, but I can still play, coach. You can count me for anything 45 yards or closer. At that point, you have to trust your kicker, okay? It's just like, you know, you pay him just like you pay Carson Wentz, right? Carson Wentz has been hurt for the last 3 weeks. Now, do you bench him because, you know he's hurt, even though he says, well, you know what, I think I'm still good enough to play, coach. You could put me in. Oh, no, you're hurt. You got to sit down. Because that's what you're saying. All of you saying this, you know, sure, hindsight 2020, he missed the kick. I get it. But at the time that it was called, the top 3 things you want to make sure you do at that point with 4.5 minutes. 1, don't turn the football in over. 2, keep the clock running. 3, do not lose yardage, right? And after that catch from that Zach Pascal catch, they ran the ball, and then kicked a field goal. And that's exactly what he should have done. Because had he not, throwing the ball on any one of those downs would have, A, put the ball in danger for an interception, B, take a chance of taking a sack and getting knocked back even further, maybe possibly out of field goal range, C, throwing the ball, incomplete passes, kill the clock, the Ravens then don't have to use their timeouts.
Yeah.
You get
and
what
the
I'm
thing
saying?
is, people sit there and they're so results oriented thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're in, first, when you're dealing with percentages and yes, you can do the right thing and it's still not work. Okay. Like you said, I had no problem with that. I actually enjoyed the way he controlled as much as he could. He put that ball right where he wanted it, centered it onto the field. He controlled as much as he could. He knew his kicker situation. He had all the information, like you said. And to me, had the kicker been 100% healthy, people would never even for a second sit there and say that that was a good play call. So sit there and take into account that he's not healthy, but yet he's already gone out there and performed the similar kick and made it. You know what I mean? Yes. What? I just don't understand the thinking there. You know what I mean? I was more – the only thing, and this is honestly the only thing that I had a problem with was the earlier situation with when they went for the 2-point conversion. And I talked to you about that earlier this morning. That really bothered me. That sent a message of, you don't chase points when you're in the lead, especially by multiple, possessions. And I don't understand why would you do that when you've already figured out that your kicker has this capability. So I guess my question is you were willing to make that decision later in the game. Why didn't you make that decision earlier in the game? And the reason this bothers me so much is, okay, now if the kicker makes that field goal, okay, I understand it's only 1 point. All right. But then you factor in the fact that, okay, now Baltimore is no longer able to do the 2-point conversion because it just mathematically doesn't add up because they're not going to be able to get, an advantage out of it. Now they're just going to kick the field goal, after each score. So now you've automatically got a 3-point swing in the game. Man, I'll tell you right now, I would have given anything to have those 3 points. But the thing was it was all because of the choice to go for the 2. I understand. You make that 2 there again. You make that 2-pointer and everybody's not talking about it. But there again, that's results-oriented thinking, and that's not it's just, in my experience, that's not a good way to make your choices and your decisions is by, this didn't work. You use that to help build your thought process, but you still got to go with the numbers, especially when, what is the difference from a 2-point conversion to a field goal, a PAT? Quite a bit. There's a reason that you see the majority of these guys kicking the 1. So yeah, I just hated that choice. That one right there the most for me. Everything else, I was 100% on board with.
All right, so just let you know, Jack. There was a block earlier. The field goal, before that was blocked. But the one at with 4 minutes left in the game, that was the one that it was 3rd and 8, and you run the ball, and they ran the ball on purpose. They ran the ball to a specific area on the field. That was the play call. The play call was you run the ball on 3rd and 8. You run that ball to the point on the field. Make sure you get to the point on the field to where, Rodrigo Blankenship is most comfortable. We're at on the hashes. Now, that obviously they were going to go for that ball. They ran a run blitz. I'll tell you what, in this situation, had Carson Wentz held the football, there were so many people in the backfield on that play, he would have been sacked. maybe even had a turnover without any question. There was no time to make any decision. There was 3 defenders in the backfield as soon as the ball was snapped, okay? I'm surprised that, it happened. But anyhow, here's the situation. I completely agree with I thought that Frank Reich called a masterful game, all right? If you can only pick 1 or 2 plays throughout a game and say, you know what, I don't really fully agree with 1 or 2 play, that coach played a masterful game of play calling, period, okay? Masterful. And Reich did. And that offense did everything in their power to win this game. That defense did everything in their power to win this game. The problem was the injuries in the secondary. And there's people in the chat right now talking about, that our cornerbacks aren't any good. No, I'm sorry. Our cornerbacks did fine right up until they all got hurt, right? Right up until they all got hurt, they were stopping the pass, stopping the run. They didn't have 140 yards through 3 quarters, the Ravens, okay? Think about that. Through the first 3 quarters of the game, the Ravens did not even have 140 yards. Then we started getting hurt, and Eberflus did not change what he was telling the defensive line in the front 7 to do to help out the inexperienced cornerbacks and safeties that was back there.
Yeah, and then a good team does what a good team's supposed to do. They spotted the weakness, and they just kept exploiting it, and nothing ever stopped it. I mean,
I know.
What did he end up with in that second half? It was just three incompletions.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was nasty.
I like Lamar Jackson much more on the with his legs and his arms and stuff. You know that, but man, we made him look like a god out there yesterday. And the thing was all he did was he just tightened up a couple. I mean, what was that one in the end zone where he just threw it just out of his reach? He no longer made those just slightly off throws. I mean, like you said, this was a good team that we were up against, and I mean, once that momentum got going, man, it was brutal. And I would like to say,
go ahead. Okay.
I was just going to say, I want to put one disclaimer. If your head coach, if you can only find 1 or 2 plays throughout the game, the thing is if it's 1 or 2 plays and they're game-altering plays, then I'm going to be less forgiving, I guess. But yeah, like you said, I agree that he coached a really extraordinary good game. And I mean, the players were giving everything. I mean, Doyle's over there doing some people call it shady, some people call it veteran move or whatever. I mean, and we know Doyle. Doyle is like this guy that, he won't, he won't sit there and do he has this image, I won't do anything that'll cross the line. But I'll tell you right now, he put that toe all the way up to the edge of that line and was like, this is all I can do to help my team right now. And he flopped like a NBA basketball player. And I was just like, you go, boy.
Charday loading. He says that the depth at the cornerback position is a joke. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I utterly disagree. Okay? We walked into this game with TJ Carey and arguably our best corner so far this year, Rock Ya-Sin, on IR. Okay? But, well, not IR, but not
okay.
IR.
It's
but
like,
one's on IR. Yeah. TJ Carey's on IR.
Gotcha.
And Rock Ya-Sin's hurt. He could not play this game. Has missed the last 2, right? And Rock's played better than any cornerback on this team this year. But he's missed the last 2 games because of his injury. Then our best cornerback from last year goes out of this game, right? With Xavier Rhodes. Then his backup gets hurt, and he's out of the game. Then our then Corey Willis. Then his backup, Corey Willis's backup, gets a concussion. He's out of the game. So we're talking about 7 people before our defense was like, all right, we're out. We have nothing left. 7 defensive backs had to leave this game So the depth was fine. We ran out of players to play in the secondary. I mean, we literally was having guys who were collecting unemployment last week on the field playing, okay? That's how bad we were sitting at right then. So our depth at corner is fine. We had to play a bunch of inexperienced guys because of the injury issues that we have had. But like I said, in a situation like that, that's kind of a no-win situation for Eberflus. That's going to be my only out I'm going to give Eberflus. That was a tough situation for him to deal with, okay? Because no one's covering anything out there in a situation like that. But you could help him out by telling your front seven, look, I understand you've done exactly as I asked you to do. You've held gap integrity. You've held the running game. You've contained Lamar all 3 quarters. You've done a great job, but now I need you to do something completely different. I want you to go after his ass, okay?
Release the hounds.
Release the Kraken. Go get him, okay? That was the only way that you were going to be able to help stop Lamar from just marching the field. The only way. Guys, I appreciate all 30 plus of you that sit here in this chat, and I hope that what I am trying to explain to you, as I went and watched this game 5 times since last night. Okay, I watched it 4 times since last night, 5 times total, okay? Because I mean, if you follow me on Twitter, you knew for damn sure I was watching that game because I had 1.5 billion clips of plays on there. But thank you so much, and I hope what I'm explaining to you kind of gives you a little understanding of why I was saying some of the things on Twitter, okay? Please smash that like button. Please smash that like button. I do this for you guys. I try to come out here and give you all the knowledge that I see on film and give you my opinions and things. And smashing that like button helps so much. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you are notified next time I go live. Guys, I got a couple ads I got to drop in here. I'm sorry. Yeah, I get paid for this. All right. Now, obviously, if you guys want to donate, want to drop something in the chat that, get an opinion or a question or something out, feel free. Use that link right here, right below me, where it says tip, Streamlabs. Use that as a super chat. Any super chats, I will get to your question or comment immediately, okay? Use that other than the YouTube. Now, for my ads. Number 1, obviously, news break. We're dropping. We have what? We made 3 videos this morning. The second one will drop as soon as I drop this live, and the third one will drop later this evening. All you got to do to help us out for free is download a free app and give us a follow, and that puts money in our pockets, and that's a great way to support us. This video is sponsored by Newsbreak. Newsbreak is an app used over 1.5 billion times a month by people just like you to get local news via articles or videos by those who are focused on that specific area. People like myself. Just use the link in the description of this video to download it. Then search a city, state, or someone specific, like myself, Colts Law. Then make sure to follow them so you'll get all the news fresh as it comes out. Hey, Loyalists, when you have a few extra bucks here and there in your pocket, is one of the things that you like to do maybe buy some memorabilia, like Colts memorabilia and stuff, and hang it up?
It is now that you sat there and pointed these guys out to me.
Absolutely. Man, I'll tell you what, the Backroom Collection, they got a lot of really, really nice canvas stuff. And they got other stuff besides just canvas stuff. And signatures and autographs and all that neat stuff, man. And one of these days I'll click it. This channel is proudly sponsored by the Backroom Collection. They do beautiful sports canvas art with football, basketball, baseball, and other sports themes. Special orders are accepted and autographed pieces are available. Many Indianapolis Colts signed pieces will be available beginning in November. Just use your discount code CL10 to purchase the pieces you want to spice up your living area. That's CL10. Marquis Beverly, appreciate you being in here. Super Alien 86, JT in your face. Yeah, you see. Oh, man. Conta Robinson says that I'm absolutely wrong. Well, I appreciate the vote of confidence on that. And Brock Glazer says that this just feels like the Niner season last year. Where you think it's going to get back on track, and if the injuries continue and derail it? Now, that's an excellent question, because we walked out of Miami without any injuries, right?
Right.
Walked out of Miami, no injuries. Walk out of this game, we got like piles of them, mostly in the secondary, right? And that's scary. That is scary as heck. And we need to get our starters back. I'm not all that worried about our backups being hurt. They could be hurt as long as the starters are out there. I mean, they are the guys that breathe us, breathe the starters and things of that nature.
Ask D. Lyman about that last night.
I get you, but we haven't had we haven't had luck with starters, right? Rocky Sin's playing great, playing awesome, but we didn't have Xavier Rhodes to go with him. Xavier Rhodes comes back from injury. Rocky Sin goes into injury. That's not good, right? We haven't had a starting group of cornerbacks yet this year. And then, not to mention, T.J. Carey has been gone for quite some time. Kari Willis has been dealing with stuff. We're getting concussions. We're getting hamstring issues. We're getting all kinds of problems. And that's an issue. Not to mention, dude, our offensive line played lights out. I get that Carson Wentz got hit a couple times. There was a couple plays here and there. But you could give up you can't expect them to play perfect against the Baltimore defense. But I thought they played pretty darn good.
That's right. And that was the thing, It's like, man, you want to sit there and you want to get hyped about this because, honestly, hands down, best game of the year for our offensive line. And, Chris Reed has proven us right that he's everything that we were hoping that he would be, so that it made missing out on a Quentin Nelson not as painful. Eric Fisher, like I said, he still got beat a few times, but it wasn't nearly as bad looking as it was last week even. You know what I mean? And then, holy cow, what happened to that right side? It was like somebody just woke those two fellas up. I mean, we haven't run the ball to the right that good all year. I don't care if it was Davenport, Pryor, Braden. I mean, we just haven't run the ball that good to the right at all this year.
And Marlon Mack did a really good job to the right.
Yes, he did. And I mean, like I said, we are 1-4. And I said this on Newsbreak. I mean, no matter how angry and how empty I am with my soul that's been ripped out. But I mean, aside from all that, I mean, I'm telling you right now, I do feel like this is still a team that's on the upswing. And the thing is a lot of the injuries, at least from what I'm hearing and stuff, they're not the ankles and the knees. They're concussion protocol, which, hopefully within a week or two, once again, another backup guy. But you got to start thinking that we're going to hopefully be hearing a little bit more about this offensive, Quentin Nelson, Braden Smith, T.Y. Hilton, just to mention a few. I mean, do you think this team will perform more dynamically on the offensive side? To also help detract from, okay, if we have to get into a shootout, we're going to be, he's going to have more time to throw the ball. He's going to have more options to throw. I mean, this is a 1-4 team. You are what your record says you are. I understand that, and I agree with that completely. Okay. But the thing is I really do believe that this team will make – matter of fact, I still think this team has a good chance to win the division. And that's not – I'm not trying to be a homer about this, but I sit there and I see Tennessee this next 5-game stretch. Okay, first 5 games, gauntlet for us. This next 5 games for Tennessee, they're sort of in the mixer. And and I'm not saying that all our games are all easy. I mean, I'm not looking forward to San Francisco. It's going to be a tough tilt, but you know what I mean? I still feel like
We should
the
have some
schedule,
players back by
yeah,
the
the
San
schedule's
Francisco game, though.
absolutely. And like I said, so we have had bad luck, but we haven't had terrible luck like San Francisco did last year.
Like when
You know
we
what I
had,
mean?
yeah, they had half their like major playing starters on IR for the entire season, right?
Yeah, and it was on the offensive side of the field, which
Yeah, well, and defensive. They had defense.
yeah, but I'm
Their
saying,
best
you know,
pass rusher was on IR for the entire season, right?
right,
So,
right.
I mean, oh my goodness, what's wrong with Kittle? Kittle is so freaking good, and he gets injured so easy. George Kittle to tight ends is like Paris Campbell to the wide receivers. But you know what? Talking about Paris Campbell, he woke up, got out of bed yesterday. Hello. I mean, it seemed like Carson Wentz was able to see number one a few times last night, right?
Yeah.
And
you
that
seen
was nice to see.
Yeah, and I tell you right now, there was a few times where you sit there and you look under that helmet, and he just had this great look of "F you guys, I'm out here," and I like you said, this was the first game where I felt like, I when Paris gets the ball, I'm like, you know what I mean, and just wait, you know, and it's not always because it's an exciting play. There's a part of me that I'm like, okay, guys, just treat them like it's flag football, please. But no, like you said, he was going out there. He was taking some serious shots and he had that. Yeah, this is what I love about this game. That linebacker mentality type of look at it.
Yep. I mean, at least the Colts didn't lose to the Jets yet. Like
I
the
didn't hear
Tennessee
you. I'm sorry.
I said at least the Colts haven't lost to the Jets.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna dog on another team, but I'll tell you right now. Yeah, I do. I feel like come back to this video at week 11.
Yeah.
Okay, and let's see where we're at. I really do feel like
yeah.
things are going to balance out.
I
for
could
us.
legitimately see we're 1-4. The Colts have a legitimate shot at finishing out after 5 weeks or 10 weeks. They could be 5-5. They literally could and not be too bad off. I could see 2 games in the next 5 games that'll be tough. And there's 3. I expect them to win at least one of those and maybe 2, depending upon our health. Because last night, yes, we lost and we lost in a bad fashion, but at the same time, we showed we can run with just about anybody, even with backups, right? I mean, even with the offensive line started to gel. Carson Wentz healthy. I'm sorry. What was everybody scared of, right? Carson Wentz, when healthy so far this year, just looks like the man.
Yeah.
I mean, really, he's looked good. The only game that he looked iffy in was obviously the Titans game when he had two ankles he couldn't play on.
The Nubbins game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the only game he looked bad in. The rest, and even then, his quarterback rating was around like an 89 or something like that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, my goodness, Carson Wentz, he's starting to get his gel with his receivers. He's starting to understand the offensive line and the blocking and know where and when to move. Yes, he still takes shots. And it's not for getting out of the pocket. It's because, sometimes guys get in there real quick. He's got to throw the football, and he gets hit, But he's done a very – and let's talk about turnovers. I mean, he's had 1 interception. 7 touchdowns, 1 interception. Right. He's literally right now sitting in the top 10 of the quarterback rankings in the NFL. Okay? I mean, right on the edge of it, but he's there. Okay? After the last couple games that he's had. So, yeah, Carson Wentz doing a fantastic job.
You know what? I was sitting here thinking. I remember last week listening to Chris Strasser talk about the O-line, and he was just like, you know what? I'm tired of hearing about the injuries. I've just got to coach better. I've just got to do better. You know what? I think there's another coach I would love to hear say something or just to have that, you know what, heck with this and that, and that's not even the defensive backs. I mean, it is really just, I want to hear Eberflus just bite. I mean, I know he's a nice guy. I know the guys love him and stuff. You know what, man? Let's just start holding these guys' feet to the fire. Let's see. Okay, we sit there and we talk about, the culture. Let's see what happens whenever Eberflus isn't coaching them with the nice guy, I guess. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying go out there and start screaming like a lunatic or anything. But what I'm saying is whenever practice going, because these guys will run through walls. And I love that about, our defense. These guys play harder than most any defense. But you know what, man? There's that extra I feel like this defense has to offer. And I do think that we have the right players. I mean, arguably, I feel like DeForest Buckner is not performing up to the high level that he set. I mean, he's playing good, but I feel like there's just a little more in there that, that he can dig out. Same with Grover Stewart, playing well. Man, I just feel like if everybody could just find that little bit extra, and like the coach said, take it one day at a time and just – I'm telling you right now, this team isn't – it is a 1-4 team. I know it is a 1-4 team. But I am telling you right now, we were right there that, and the thing is we've got to start beating better teams. Okay, now, aside from San Francisco, who do we have? Titans. I guess the Titans would be also in the next 5 games. Okay. I feel like the Titans have fallen back to us. If they were ahead of us at all, I feel like they've fallen back to us. If you know what I mean. So like I said, man, I'm really pumped about this team. And I think that's the thing. You sit there and you see it and you're like, yes, all this support and all this is going to be validated. And this team, and you see 3 quarters of just outstanding football, complimentary football on both sides. And then to have it just ripped away, through, and like Eberflus said, you got to take your hat off to Baltimore. Those guys, whenever it really counted, they stepped up and made play after play after play.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I just hope he gets that spark, gets something going. Get Darius and DeForest and these guys that they're already giving 100%. Give us 110. I don't know. Squeeze it out of somewhere, man.
Kellen Maurice, thank you so much for the subscription. Appreciate you doing that, my guy. Guys, don't forget, we do live streams for Patreon every Thursday night. We just sit down and chill and talk with Patreon subscribers. It's only $5 a month. You can go in, link down here. You can join Patreon. All of my content that I do goes in there. Plus, I do that Patreon specific stuff at least once a week. Most of the time, it's been twice a week this year. But last night, I couldn't do a live stream reaction to the game because we had a storm rolling through the area, and I was not able to just sit in one spot while I was running around with buckets, emptying buckets. It didn't rain as bad as I thought it was going to, though. I will admit that, but it did rain. A couple questions in the chat I want to get to real quick. We're 50 minutes in, guys. Don't forget, smash that like button, please. Please, 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 please. Alpha Wolf says, what do y'all think about the lateral pass from Leonard that was turned around after the fumble? I went back and I looked at that, and by technical law, it was a forward pass.
Okay. Here's the thing, man. Okay. There's certain things that I agree replay is good for. And this is not because it went against it. All right? We went down, we scored anyhow. Yeah. No harm, no foul. Heck, we took more time off the clock. Awesome. Okay.
There you go.
So I'm not, but man, I'm telling you right now, when a player turns to his left to a guy that's behind him, okay, I don't care if the inertia or gust of, I don't give a crap. If you see a guy, he literally twists his torso, he give the ball. Okay, yes. Okay,
the ball
whatever.
Itself,
if you sit there
however, did travel forward.
But
both the guys were moving forward, so it looked like it was a lateral.
Do you ever watch rugby?
Huh?
Do you ever watch rugby?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
this sport is designed around that, okay? I'm almost for sure. And I'm not an avid, you know what I mean? I watch it. I've maybe watched 40, 50 hours worth of it. But I'm pretty daggone sure that would not have been considered a stop and play. in rugby because
I know, but in the
man.
NFL, every turnover has to be looked at thoroughly from the beginning and the end of it.
Then
that
why
was
in the
a turnover play.
Then why in the world doesn't Owen get his penalty called whenever he comes and blindsides Carson Wentz? When he clearly jumped off sides, and then he blindsides Carson Wentz. That ball was turned over. Why can't we go back and call that penalty then? You
That's
know what I mean?
Good question.
You're going to sit there and nitpick, and and obviously, I don't want that. I don't want the games to last 7 hours. You know what I mean? I'm not promoting that. What I'm saying is there's certain parts of it that you just have to say, you know what? Kid made a good football play, and good on you, Isaiah. You got 7 points in my mind.
Oh, that was that. I mean, wow. I bet every Colts fan in the world was standing up, screaming, shouting, "Oh my goodness!" You know, I know it. I was. It took me forever to get that clip on Twitter, and it wasn't just because I was waiting for the ref calls. Because I'm glad I waited for the ref calls because you know, it would have been wrong. But anyhow, that was an exciting play.
That play was a microcosm of the entire game because for me, I know you say you don't listen to the commentators and stuff, so I'll let you a little heads up. When you're watching the game on national TV, you're sitting there and you're hearing they come back from commercial and they're like, okay, they're taking the ball back. So now I've gone from now they're reversing. It's not a turnover because all the commentator says is, okay, they're bringing the ball back. And I'm losing my everything because they'd already showed enough replays in my eyes. And then they turn around and at the last minute, they clarified that, oh, okay, it was a turnover. And by that time I was so bent out of shape. I was like, I'll take it. I'm not even going to be mad about it.
I was actually worried about the lateral not being a lateral. That's why I held off on posting. I knew now the fumble, he had open palm. That is a rule for quarterbacks. Open palm means turnover. It's a fumble. Yes, the open palm rule. And that was a big time open palm on Lamar Jackson, right? So I knew it was going to be ruled in the favor of a fumble. When his knee hit, open palm, ball resting on top of it.
Yeah.
So,
but I said, the commentators, they just they full out young Jedi'd me, man. Because like I said, when they came back, said, "Oh, they're moving the ball back," and then they were like, sort of letting you know that it was not going to be a turnover. I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Right. Okay, so we're going to get to a couple.
Your sound's way off.
It shouldn't be.
Okay, you sound a massive echo over here on my side of things. But
there shouldn't be an echo because I was clicking.
Okay, that's fine.
Do I have an echo on your guys' end? Let me know.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's an echo as much as it sounds like a tunnel, like, you know what I mean?
Okay, Alpha says that I'm good. Okay,
cool.
Appreciate you. All right, so there's a couple questions in the chat I want to bring up. It was probably because I unplugged my cord on accident, right? So you might be hearing me twice for some stupid reason right now. I apologize. The first question, we got to get back to this. I got to scroll up. Skylar and Kirsten. Hey, Colts Law, what's up? I was wondering, with Reed playing so well, do you guys think that we still play Big Q that huge contract? Yes, we do. Yes. Why? Because that means Reed, he's playing so well, we'll extend his contract, drop him over there on the other side of the guard. I have no problem with that. And then we still have Pinter, who could play guard or center, right? Good. If anything, if we've learned anything this year, is that backups on the O-line are important. Okay.
Yeah. Everybody's talking about our depth at secondary. I mean, yeah. We don't need Davenport out there any more than absolutely necessary.
But yeah, Big Q, you still pay him. You don't trade him off. I know there's been question marks. Do we trade Q? After the 5th-year option to try to get some, because guard. You do not trade game changers, tone setters, right?
Mm-hmm.
San Francisco traded DeForest Buckner, who is a game changer and a tone setter, because they thought they had another one sitting right beside him.
And a replacement. They thought they
That
could
they
get
could
a younger, cheaper.
Yeah. You do not get rid of game changers and tone setters, and that's exactly what Quentin Nelson is. I would give him $20 million a year, even at a guard position. I would, Now that's still going to hurt us because we can only afford one more big contract, at currently. But if this team ever gets healthy, I think they can beat anybody in the NFL. I mean, we should have beat the Rams. We should have beat the Ravens. That's got me convinced we can do it. We just got to finish out and do it. That's the thing. That's
And I know they asked you, but I there's a little bit I'd like to add to that, and that's Quentin Nelson brings a mindset to this offensive line that doesn't just affect his position. I mean, he elevates the play. I mean, no knock to Ryan Kelly, no knock to Eric Fisher. I mean, but these guys are elevated when they know that they got that dude standing in the mix with them. You know what I mean? He brings a mentality that, yes, these guys have, okay? But like I said there again, Quentin's sort of that enforcer. He's that guy that you can see him come from the left and all of a sudden sprint out to the right end to help out Braden Smith because he sees that he's gotten beat and he's not under attack. I remember last week and this is not knocking on Chris Reed, but you seen Chris Reed and he kept drifting over to help Fisher and then they were stunned. Okay. Quentin Nelson's not doing that. Quentin Nelson doesn't get schooled that way. You know what I'm saying? So I just, like I said, he elevates the guys around him, not to mention the way he also is a nice little security blanket.
That's a funny little thing that Alpha Wolf said in here. He says, I want to give some of these refs the open palm rule. That's pretty funny. I do not condone violence in any way. Let that be known on YouTube and out throughout the world.
Remember that tweet I was talking to you about from Julian this morning?
Yes.
Care if I mention that?
I don't care.
Okay, guys.
This is
I'll
half
tell you
your
right
show
now,
too, my guy.
I know, man, but there's certain things that I mean, football stuff. This isn't football stuff, okay? And you guys know we don't sit there and we don't beat up on people for whatever their thoughts or opinions are, okay? Heck, we've got just as many Baltimore and L.A. and okay. My point being is we got a tweet this morning from Julian Blackman sitting there discussing how he's like, you know what, guys?
Blackman or Davenport?
No, Blackman, Julian Blackman.
Okay.
He sat there and he mentions that, you know what, guys? I can understand that you're disappointed or irritated or whatever, but he was getting death threats. I was just like, I understand that. No, I don't understand. Okay. I got it. That's some people accept that this is the world we live in, but I'm telling you guys right now, I hope the people listening to this, I really don't believe any of us partake in it, but I hope that we also can come in and help eliminate some of that. I mean, it's just garbage. It's just total garbage. I mean, you're talking about a kid who just had a baby and everything, and you're wishing just the worst. And I'll tell you right now, man, when he said that, I was just, you hear it and you think, oh, that's different media markets, or whatever. And then you realize that, no, and whether it's just some little, guy behind a screen that thinks that his words don't mean anything. I hope every time that people do that crap that they get blown up, they get outed. I mean, Julian didn't give the guy's name or nothing, and respects to that. But man, I tell you right now, I was so disappointed to hear that people can sit there and take this beautiful game of football, and the fact that we can all agree to not have to agree on something. I can love the Colts, you can love the Patriots. I mean, and that's fine. We can all. I said it. I put over that. But you know what I'm saying? You can love these teams and respect other teams and not have to go to that length. And man, I'll tell you right now, I heard that this morning. I was trying to avoid Twitter, so I was like, oh, I'll just check in on the players and stuff. Then I heard that first thing. I was so irritated, especially that dude. Did anybody not see how he played last night?
Right.
I mean, he's the last person you need. Not the last, you know what I'm saying, but nobody should receive those.
It is completely and utterly inexcusable to drop death threats. Even John Gruden shouldn't get death threats, right? Do I condone all the stuff from the emails that no, I do not condone it. He does not deserve to be in the NFL, should not be in the NFL, and all that. But you don't run. That shows you what kind of human being you are, or are you even human? You know, if you're running around throwing death threats to people who are trying to entertain you, okay? That's what they're paid to do, to entertain you. And you're out there throwing death threats. That's completely and utterly inexcusable. And to me, that makes you about as important as, you know, that crust that lines up in the corner of your mouth when you wake up in the morning. Yeah, okay, that's where I see you at. Okay, you're about on that level. Okay.
Yeah.
Guys, and like you said, really, Blackman, the guy who turned a first down catch into a not first down catch by hitting him so hard that he knocked him back 5 yards, right?
Yeah.
I mean, or the guy who forced the fumble on Lamar Jackson for that entire thing to happen in the first place that we talked about earlier. Come on, man. Come on.
I mean, I don't even feel like giving death threats to officials is right. And
No.
guys, you know where I stand on the officiating.
They're trying to do their job. They can't see everything, right?
Better.
I know.
I know.
I get
but
it. But in general, bad calls go one way and another. You know, there was bad calls against the Colts.
Oh, absolutely.
Remember the Miami game and the face mask, the bogus face. That was a bogus face mask call, right?
Oh, yeah.
That did not happen, but the Colts benefited from it. It happens to every team. You just got it. It sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks. But you just have to live with it and move on, you know.
I've been telling everybody, you know, they hit that suck meter on the they pegged that meter out last night. I'm not going to lie. but I can still sit there and wake up in the morning and have a clear conscience that I don't wish anybody that much ill will at all. I mean, if anything, I'm giving Lamar Jackson the stink eye. I don't think he's worried about that, but there you go. That's my mean thought on football reactions.
And to be fair, it's not that you don't tons of respect to Lamar Jackson. He showed, he showed it, because we gave him everything we had, and we held him down, and it did not keep him down for 3 quarters in the game. We kept him down for 3 quarters, and he still kept his head up and kept fighting through and was able to win a game. So huge props to Lamar Jackson and keeping his team their head above water and fighting through it. So
yeah, because I remember going in thinking that if we could get that tight pocket and just stress him out, and he sat there and stared that stress right in the face and turned it right back at us.
DB says something in the chat that I utterly agree with. He says Darius Leonard was heartbroken in his press conference.
He was what?
Heartbroken. Dude, he was crying. He was wiping snot off, you know, because he was that upset over losing the game. And he gave everything he had.
See, I didn't even, you know, I sit here and I try to always look at these guys as humans and stuff. But can you imagine that, okay? These guys, all right, the guys that were on that field that were still playing, even the guys that got hurt, I mean, did anybody watch them play on that field and sit there and go, oh, they didn't give 100%? No. I mean,
No.
these guys, and then they have to sit there and deal with some moron. Ugh, you know what I mean? Like I said, there was not a person on that field or coach. You know what I mean? I really do believe that, yeah, this game sucked, but it just wasn't our time. We'll get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've got, we're not perfect. You know what I mean?
No.
Carson could have scored more. Carson could have helped, elicit more points in the first half. There's a lot of things that we can work on.
The Colts don't deserve that listing of being like 25th in the NFL right now in power rankings, right? Because I mean, if you go back and you look at our losses, I mean, we lost to maybe the best team in the NFC, and we lost to the Ravens in a heartbreaker, in a game where Carson Wentz in this offense had 540 yards of total offense, right? Against a Ravens defense. You gotta remember, this is a good Ravens defense, and there were times there was no interceptions. Carson Wentz didn't throw an interception, and that's surprising considering, the kind of defense that the Ravens play.
And these polls and stuff, and sometimes I feel like these guys are just throwing darts at a dartboard, and that's the name. And then other times I feel like, you know what? Carson was dead to them before he didn't have any chance. He was garbage. And so now they've got a narrative that they're trying to hey, I look at them just to have an idea what national media is putting out there. But I'll tell you right now, guys, and Derek, he's working his butt off over there, bring the juice. You know what I mean? Lawrence over here. These guys are working to give you all the information, not just a jaded point of view and hopefully a little less of my fan point of view. And they're trying to really give you, their true, honest opinions on these things. I mean, I listened to Cody today sit there and give a passionate speech about how he felt. I don't agree with him, okay? But I love the fact that, he sat there and broke it down for you from his point of view. And you know what? More power to him,
Yeah. I honestly, I feel like I have hope for this team. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
You look at you gotta look at circumstances, right? Like I said, I do blame Eberflus, but I can't put too much on him because he was in a bad spot. Okay, in the fourth quarter, it was a bad spot, but I'm still blaming him because it's his fault on multiple occasions this year so far. On his play calling, I've looked at it, yeah, and in the past, but I'm just saying, does he do a good job getting his team fired up? Yes. Does he do a good job game planning for it? The initial game plan? Yes, I think so. I mean, they walked into this game and completely dominated the Ravens, offensively and defensively, the Colts did. So Eberflus walked in with a great game plan. But when things started to go awry and started to murk up his plan because he didn't have the right personnel anymore to run that plan, he needed to adjust and didn't, right? And I've already talked about that earlier in the stream. I'm not going to kind of, hammer it home over and over and over. But
my point is everybody, if you really want to know about these teams, and this is how I try to find out about a lot of the other teams. Dudley Do-Right for the Dolphins, you know what I mean? Or Ray Route. Sorry about that.
Ray Route.
Yeah, I know. I messed it up, though.
That's all good.
But just call me Connor. But anyhow, you see him over there on, DPN or Shenanigans or whatever that name's going to settle on. I mean, you guys want to really know about these teams, go to these guys. They're the ones who are really grinding out and digging for you. And nobody understands. Like I said, nobody understands. I don't understand because he just calls me and lets me on, and I ramble for a little while. Lawrence is doing all the work, and there's a lot going on, guys, a lot going on. And like I said, if you really want to know, read the national media, understand that, the smaller market teams are going to get dumped on. They always do, whether it's PFF or whoever else, But like I said, I appreciate, Lawrence, all the work you put in and these guys, and I would just thank you, man.
Well, hey, you know what? That's what I enjoy doing it,
Yeah.
So, and the reason I do it is for people to sit here and consume the content, and if you enjoy it and I get enough people that shows that they like it, then it makes me feel good that, you know, I'm able to put out a product that you guys enjoy. So thank you to all of you people out here that watch it, because you're the reason why I do it.
And I'll tell you what, guys, join Patreon, $5 a month, and you'll get to find out a lot of the work that Lawrence puts into this stuff.
Guys, I appreciate each and every one of you, but, you know, we're like better than an hour through the hour and 10 minutes. Wow, this is a good one. Got 34 viewers right now. Please smash that like button before we get out of here. I would really appreciate it. Man, before I leave, I just want to say that I'm looking at this schedule, and when I get this film room out, you'll understand why. But I'm looking at this schedule. We get some guys healthy back. This offense is clicking on damn near all cylinders right now, and we still don't have T.Y. Hilton, Braden Smith, Quentin Nelson, and they are clicking right now.
Yeah.
Marlon Mack will probably be traded soon, because of the last 2 games he has shown some good film out there, right? I hate to see it. I hate to see Marlon go, but he's really, you know, he's probably going to get his wish. But and that's why we're not seeing nearly as much Hines. But yeah, I could see the Colts turning out 5-5 by week 10. And if we're 5-5 at week 10, then we have a real shot at making the playoffs still, even though we're 1-4 starting out. There's a chance that we could darn near duplicate what we did with Andrew Luck, you know. So let's keep it on the calm a little bit. I am right there, though. Yeah. I am a little worried that this season could be, if we lose to the Texans next week, I'm done. We're done. That's all I got to say. All right. I will walk in every stream from then on for the rest of the season and go, well, welcome back to the meaningless game. Because no, I'm a pretty optimistic guy. I try not to get too low, too high. But
well, I just want you to know, I think you're aiming a little low. Like I said, I think we're going to end up 6-4. I really believe that we're going to win.
I'm saying if we're 5-5 at week 10.
Oh, I know. But
then we have a shot, you know.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you. Until next time, until next time, right now, please smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, tag that notification bell. Check out all the links in the description of this video. It's right down there, man. There's a whole bunch of really cool stuff that you can check out. Please. And until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen. That's Colts Loyalist. And as usual, have a good one.
Just because a player's not a household name doesn't mean we can't make him a household name.